Everyone talks about the politics and the monuments, but ask any local and they'll tell you there's a whole other side to living in Washington, D.C. From hidden trails to hole-in-the-wall brunch spots, this city constantly surprises you. In this video, I'm sharing 11 things that I and most DC locals absolutely love about living here. Whether you're considering a move or just curious about what makes the nation's capital feel like home, you'll get a real unfiltered look at life beyond the tourist brochures and what you see on the news. By the end of the list, you might just find yourself adding DC to your short list. One of my favorite things about living in DC is not having to use my car for most things. Within a 10-minute stroll from my place, I can reach dozens of restaurants, my gym, grocery stores, coffee shops, and even my office. It really completely changes the way you experience the city. Washington, D.C. is actually ranked a walker's paradise by walkscore.com with a 98 out of 100 score. It's consistently recognized as one of the most walkable cities in the country. And neighborhoods like DuPont Circle, Georgetown, Logan Circle, and several others are designed in a way that lets you take care of just about everything within a few blocks of your home. The city itself is only about 68 square miles, so most neighborhoods are packed into a tight 2 or 3 mile radius, and there's an extensive sidewalk network that connects residential streets with commercial corridors. DC is also ranked in the top 5 most bike-friendly cities in the U.S. with 116 miles of bike lanes here in the city. Some people don't even bother with a car or just get by with one car. Of course, that depends on which neighborhood you choose, but walking becomes the main way to get around. And honestly, that's one of the things that makes daily life here feel so effortless and connected. And while walkability shapes how we experience daily life here, what really keeps DC fresh and dynamic are the major developments transforming the city. The city is constantly reinventing itself while still honoring its past. I've seen abandoned industrial sites turn into vibrant waterfront neighborhoods, and historic buildings get repurposed into modern homes. These projects aren't just reshaping the skyline, they're creating these entirely new experiences for residents. The old RFK Stadium site will be redeveloped into an 100-acre mixed-use campus with plans for a NFL stadium, plus retail, restaurants, and a year-round farmers market. Office to residential conversions are also happening across the city, bringing housing to some of DC's most established neighborhoods. Over the McMillan Reservoir, the city is turning the historic water filtration site into a new community with shops, homes, and parks, all while preserving these old filtration sand towers. Buzzard Point, down where the Potomac and Anacostia rivers meet, is transforming from industrial land into a lively waterfront district with luxury apartments, restaurants, and some really nice river views. Then there's the 11th Street Bridge project, which is an ambitious project turning a previously retired bridge into a public park that for the first time will connect DC's neighborhoods on both sides of the Anacostia River, which is pretty cool. And soon DC will be home to a brand new $475 million National Museum of the U.S. Navy, adding to the city's long tradition of honoring history through modern design. While these developments and projects are reshaping the physical landscape of DC, it's the city's abundance of green spaces that brings a beautiful balance to urban life. Living in DC means having access to incredible parks and trails, often just steps from your home. On the weekends, I'll bike along the Capitol Crescent Trail, which I love because you can go miles without seeing another car, or I headed to Rock Creek Park, where it's easy to forget you're even in a major city. Washington uses over 20% of the city's land for parks. That includes everything from neighborhood playgrounds and historic squares to large federal parklands. Rock Creek Park, which runs through the center of the city, is twice the size of Central Park in New York and offers miles of hiking and biking trails, as well as horseback riding, tennis, and golf. For 5 years in a row, DC has been named the best big city park system in the U.S. by the Trust for Public Land. Most residents live within a short walk of a park, and the city's extensive trail networks makes it easy to stay active outdoors for sure. There's also a high level of tree canopy coverage, which you definitely noticed in the spring and the fall. And for dog owners, DC is especially welcoming. Many of the city's public parks allow leash dogs, and there are also numerous off-leash dog parks across the city. We take our dogs to the S Street Dog Park. It has this nice artificial turf, so we never have to worry about them getting dirty or muddy after each visit. So these parks and trails aren't just great outdoor escapes. They completely change character with each season, which brings me to another thing I love about living here. There's something magical about how DC transforms with the seasons. Cherry blossom season is what gets all the attention, but locals know the city puts on a show year-round. In the spring, everything starts blooming, first with the cherry trees around the tidal basin, and then with waves of color that stretch from March through May. Fall is just as impressive. The National Arboretum and Rock Creek Park are packed with different trees that light up in red, orange, and gold. The crisp weather and packed calendar of fall events make the season feel both energetic and cozy. And you have farmers markets, which are full of local produce. Patios stay open, and traditions like the 8th Street Festival and the Marine Corps Marathon bring people together all over the city. Winter has its own charm, especially in neighborhoods like Georgetown, where the historic streets take on a whole new look after a snowfall. The monuments look especially beautiful, dusted with snow, and there's something peaceful about seeing the city kind of slow down during quiet, chilly mornings. And in the summer, the parks come alive with things like outdoor movies and seasonal events. You'll find rooftop happy hours, evening walks along the waterfront, and festivals that stretch late into the night, making the most of these long, warm days. While DC's natural beauty is a major draw, the cultural access here is very impressive, and honestly, it's one of the city's biggest perks. The free museums are a game changer. On a rainy Sunday, I can head to the National Gallery or check out a new exhibit at the Smithsonian. No ticket, no planning, no admission fee, just world-class art and history whenever I want to. DC is home to 56 free museums, including 17 from the world-class Smithsonian Institution alone. That includes everything from the Air and Space Museum to the African American Museum of History, the National Zoo, and countless galleries and science centers. So the Smithsonian Collection attracts millions of visitors each year, but as a local, you get to enjoy them on your own schedule. Many museums also host special evening events, exhibit openings, and curator talks just for residents of DC. Outside the National Mall, there are many cultural spaces, independent museums, historic homes, and art venues. Even if history wasn't your favorite subject in school, you can't help but love what history has to offer here. DC ranks among the highest in the country for museums per square mile, and the fact that many of them are free makes living here like a nonstop opportunity to explore something new. After exploring museums, you'll probably work up quite an appetite, and that's when DC really shines. The food scene here is incredible, not just because it's diverse, but because it's authentic. No matter what type of food you prefer, the restaurants are typically chefed by natives of that country's cuisine. The city's international flavor comes in part from its global population and a large diplomatic presence. You'll find some of the best Vietnamese, Salvadorian, Ethiopian, and Korean food in the country, often within just a few blocks of each other. With over 2,000 restaurants packed in just 60 square miles, DC has one of the highest restaurant to resident ratios in the country. It also has the highest concentration of Ethiopian restaurants outside of Ethiopia, which is really interesting. And don't worry, there's every other type of food, from tacos to burgers to DC's famous half smoke and Ben's chili bowl as well. New dining spots are opening all the time, and there are events like Restaurant Week and the Embassy Chef Challenge, which give locals a chance to sample global cuisines in a fun, very accessible way. So Whether you're grabbing Michelin-starred cuisine or street food favorite, DC's food scene is one of the best parts about living here. These amazing restaurants aren't concentrated in one area either. They're spread throughout DC's like many distinct neighborhoods, each with its own personality. One of the better parts about living in DC is how it feels like a collection of small towns, each with its own vibe. Georgetown has its historic streets and classic row houses. Logan Circle brings its lively dining scene with a blend of classic charm and a modern urban energy. Capitol Hill combines a sense of history with a close-knit community feel. There are also several options if you want something less vibrant with more of a residential feel as well. The city is also full of neighborhoods that each offer something different, something unique. You'll find everything from Federal and Victorian-style row houses, condos within a row house, mid-rise condo buildings, and single-family homes. DC also does a great job preserving its historic districts, which gives each area a strong sense of place. Neighborhoods here aren't just places to live. They're places to gather. Local spots like Eastern Market, Union Market, and the DuPont Circle Farmers Market bring people together every week and throughout the year. There are block parties, street festivals, and house tours that help keep the neighborhood spirit alive. Speaking of history, living in DC means being surrounded by history, not just in museums, but in everyday life. Here, history isn't something you just read about. It's something you run past, work near, or even grab coffee next to. We've had dinner in the same booth that Jack Kennedy proposed to Jackie Kennedy, and my go-to bike route takes me past most of these beautiful memorials and landmarks that literally shape the country. DC is packed with historically significant buildings and monuments, but what makes it unique is how it's woven into daily life. You walk by foreign embassies on your way to dinner, or you'll hear Marine One fly overhead during your morning commute. Motorcades are fairly common sight. Some of your neighbors will work in or around the center of power, whether it's Capitol Hill, a federal agency, or an international nonprofit. And even if you're not directly involved in government, you'll still feel connected to the moments happening here because you see them play out right in front of you. Living in DC means you're never far from where history is made, and that's something few other cities can offer. The connection to history extends beyond America to cultures from around the world. Thanks to DC's unique international character, the city has an incredible richness to everyday life. I can attend a film festival at the French Embassy, take a cooking class at the Mexican Cultural Institute, and catch a live Ethiopian jazz show all in the same weekend. A significant portion of DC's residents were born outside the U.S., and that diversity shows up in everything from the languages spoken at home to the global events happening around the city. Many residents are multilingual, speaking a myriad of languages. I always find it cool and a challenge when I hear people walking down the street speaking another language and trying to guess what language they're actually speaking. Public schools offer language immersion programs that reflect this international mix, and cultural institutions regularly host exhibits, concerts, and lectures that showcase art and ideas from all over the world. DC is also home to 170 embassies. Many of them are in DuPont Circle, the rest spread throughout the city, which helps shape a calendar filled with global events. One standout is Passport DC, where embassies open their doors to the public for food, music, and cultural exchange. It just happened last week. It's done annually. This global mix is what makes DC feel so dynamic and open and connected to the wider world. And here's the best part. This global perspective isn't just great for culture, it creates exceptional professional opportunities too. The career opportunities in DC are hard to match. Beyond government roles, the region has thriving sectors in tech, healthcare, education, professional services. I've had clients move here for what they thought would be a short-term assignment, only to stay for decades because their careers took off in ways they never expected. DC consistently maintains one of the lowest unemployment rates among major U.S. cities, and the metro area ranks among the highest in the nation for median household income. And in a recent Wall Street Journal article, they reported that Washington, D.C. had more tech jobs available than Silicon Valley. What sets D.C. apart is the mix of opportunities. You have global organizations, think tanks, nonprofits, and international development groups, all headquartered here, creating a professional landscape that's kind of uniquely dynamic. The high concentration of educated professionals also means great networking and mentorship opportunities. Whether you're just starting out or making a mid-career shift, many find that it's an ideal place to launch a global career as well. And with the stability of the federal government anchoring the local economy, DC tends to weather national downturns better than most cities. Whether you're in policy, tech, healthcare, or the arts, DC offers a place where careers don't typically just grow, they thrive. With so many ambitious professionals concentrated in one place, it's no surprise that DC offers an impressive level of intellectual stimulation. Living here means being surrounded by curious, educated people who care deeply about ideas. Any night of the week, I can find a fascinating lecture, book talk, or panel discussion happening somewhere in the city. It keeps your mind active and engaged in a way that few places do. The region is home to some of the country's top universities. You have Georgetown, George Washington, American University, and Howard, all of which contribute to the academic energy of the city. DC residents rank among the most highly educated in the nation. Approximately 37% of residents hold advanced degrees. That creates a community where meaningful conversation is the norm, not the exception. Public libraries, bookstores, and cultural centers offer a steady calendar of talks, workshops, and educational programs. And whether it's a think tank forum, a museum lecture, or an embassy-hosted seminar, there's always something thought-provoking going on. The intellectual atmosphere here is one of the things that makes living in DC so rewarding, not just professionally, but personally. If these 11 reasons having you think about making Washington, DC your home, I'd love to help you find the perfect neighborhood that matches your lifestyle. Finding the right fit in a city with so many distinct areas can be challenging, but that's exactly what I've helped hundreds of clients do. Reach out to the number on your screen, or my contact information is below. I'll be happy to help you answer any questions about living in the nation's capital. If you're still curious about what life in DC is really like, check out my next video where I break down the pros and cons about living in Washington, DC. It'll help you understand which areas might be perfect match for your lifestyle and budget. Click on the video on your screen and I will see you there.